Out of crisis comes opportunity. America's fire departments can learn by studying and analyzing how the New Orleans Fire Department handled Katrina. The New Orleans Fire Department District Fire Chief Gary Savelle will share insight into how your department can prepare now for the following during a disaster. Family protection. Nothing's more important to a firefighter that's faced with a disaster to know that his family or loved ones are accountable and they're safe. It's paramount that departments understand how important that is to have a plan to do that. I think you'll learn a lot as you listen to District Chief Gary Savelle tell the New Orleans Fire Department story.
3 words: evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. We really encourage our families to evacuate, because we feel like if we get the families out of harm's way and they evacuated, then the firefighters that are there, they know their family's safe. Their family's in Shreveport, they're in Houston, they're Atlanta, they're fine, and so then they can work. And so that takes a big load off of your mind when you're working in a catastrophic environment like that and you know your family's safe. And what the family needs to do is have a plan. Don't wait until a storm's knocking on your doorstep. And when I say I have a plan, you want to have like all your important papers, have them in a box, insurance papers, deeds, titles, you know, all of the most important things, birth certificates, passports, whatever. Have that way you can quickly put your hands on it, family photos, things like that, just what's important. You know, you're not going on vacation, but you just want to take the most important things with you. And a few changes of clothes, usually say 3 to 5 days worth of clothes and food, but the best thing to do is to get that together and evacuate and leave the area, especially if you're in a flood-prone area. You know, one of the old sayings with hurricanes is you hide from the wind, but you run from the water. It's the water that kills people in hurricanes mainly. So if you don't think you're going to flood and you decide to ride it out, just think about this stuff. You don't evacuate. You might make it through the storm, but then you got to live with the aftermath. Now, at my house in New Orleans, it took approximately 4 months before we got electricity. Now, is that something you want to deal with? You know, why stay in your house if you're not going to have electricity for 3 or 4 weeks after a storm? You're going to have to leave anyway. So you just assume leave before the storm comes and just protect yourself. So that's what we really stress to all of our families is evacuate. Now we actually have a personal evacuation form every firefighter must fill out, and it's where his family's going to evacuate, his or her family's going to evacuate too. If they're going to go to an aunt or uncle's in Shreveport, we want to know their address, their phone number, how can we contact them. So just in case something was to happen to that member, let's say after the event and we needed to contact their family, we want to have a way of doing it. And we even want to know what they're doing with their pets, any special medications the firefighter needs. In case we get isolated again, we could give that to the health department. They'll make sure they have that medication for them. So we've gotten a lot more comprehensive since Katrina, but it's the, like I said, you live and learn. It's one of the lessons learned. My wife, actually, I was talking to the day before the hurricane, and she was up in Shreveport and playing Texas Hold'em poker. They were having a good time, so I knew that she was okay. Well, then when the storm was hitting, I was actually talking to her on a cell phone early on in the storm when we still had communications, just before the levee broke. And then after the levee broke and everything started going to hell in a handbasket, well, then that's when we lost cell phone communications, all communications. So I wasn't able to talk to her until like 5 days later. And she was watching everything on TV. It was okay for me because I knew she was okay, but she was actually in Shreveport, North Louisiana, watching all of this on TV, and she didn't know if I was okay. And so it wasn't until we got a chance to talk to her, you know, so that was pretty hard on her. And that's something that we try and to address with that personal evacuation form. If you're complacent, you're going to get caught short. I mean, you're going to be surprised, and then you're going to be caught in an attic, in a roof, in the water, like a lot of people in New Orleans were. They just didn't think it was going to happen to them. You know, they rode out hurricanes before, I can ride out this one. This one was different, you know, so do you feel lucky? I mean, that's how you ask yourself. I mean, you're going to ride one out? You know, it's, I don't want to take that chance with my life or my family's life. So that's why I won't get complacent.